Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. Today we'll be discussing some of the best secrets held by founder of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Salazar Slytherin. A pure-blood British wizard, Salazar Slytherin is one of the first known individuals to have possessed the ability to speak the language of the snakes, a rare genetically inherited skill referred to as Parseltongue. He was also said to be skilled at Legilimency, which is a complex form of magical mind reading. As an incredibly talented and powerful wizard, Salazar was also one of the 4 witches and wizards to establish the world-famous wizarding school of Hogwarts. And yet, despite his impressive intellect and abilities, Salazar Slytherin has arguably the worst reputation of any of the 4 founders, with even darker secrets. Since the school's establishment in the 10th century, Salazar Slytherin was known to be more than a little bit prejudiced towards those born outside of families with magically pure bloodlines. He believed that in order to be a true witch or wizard, one must not be related to a muggle in any way whatsoever, and that muggle-born and half-blood witches shouldn't be permitted access to a magical education, such as the one the founding members were offering at Hogwarts. This explains why, during his tenure as a professor, he very meticulously picked only pure-blood students to join his House of Slytherin and study under his tutelage. So passionate was he about his perspective that Salazar eventually proposed to his fellow founders that only pure-blooded pupils should be admitted to Hogwarts, which is said to be the reason he fell out with the other founders, specifically Godric Gryffindor. Despite being friends and allies prior to the establishment of the school, Salazar and Godric's views on what Hogwarts represented and how it should run ultimately destroyed their friendship. It's even rumored that Salazar was so upset with how Gryffindor and the other founders reacted to his point of view that he up and left his position with the school. But not before he created a secret collection of things that would one day reveal just how strongly he felt about mudbloods. And while of course centuries later his most dangerous and infamous secret, the Chamber of Secrets, would become public knowledge within the wizarding world, at the time of his departure, he held many well-kept secrets that were unbeknownst to even his fellow founders. Though Gryffindor and the others were aware of how Salazar wanted to run Hogwarts, none of them believed him to be quite as narrow-minded and, well, evil as he turned out to be. This is likely how Salazar was able to keep these secrets of his to himself, essentially by not openly discussing his more radical views on what made a witch or wizard entitled to a magical education. But what exactly were these well-kept secrets of Salazar Slytherin? Let's dive in and find out. 1. The Chamber of Secrets. One of the most obvious examples is, as I've already mentioned, his creation and concealment of the Chamber of Secrets. A large cavernous chamber carved out below the dungeons in the underbelly of Hogwarts Castle, the chamber was home to a gigantic, incredibly dangerous basilisk with a fatal stare and petrifying sideways glance. The basilisk, which lived to be over 1,000 years old, was bred by Salazar himself and was created for the sole purpose of purging Hogwarts of its mudblood students. Over the centuries, descendants of Slytherin were made privy to the existence of the Chamber of Secrets, which enabled Salazar's descendants to protect it from being discovered. This is what happened when the castle's plumbing was redone in the 18th century. Then, after hundreds of years, the chamber was first reopened in the 1940s when a young Tom Riddle attempted to fulfill Slytherin's wish to purge the school of its muddied student population by way of the deadly basilisk. This led to the death of a student, Myrtle Warren, but was fortunately resealed before the basilisk could kill anyone else. The chamber was reopened once again in the early 90s by Ginny Weasley, who was possessed by the diary of Tom Riddle, which, as we later learned, was one of Voldemort's Horcruxes. Fortunately, this time around, none of Hogwarts students were killed. However, a handful were petrified and required hospitalization. And while you may be questioning the inclusion of the Chamber of Secrets on the list, since it's clearly no longer a secret, consider this: it was so well hidden that no one found it for over 1,000 years. 2. Slytherin's Scriptorium. Apparently, having one secret chamber built within the castle of Hogwarts was not enough for Salazar Slytherin, for he also built himself a secret scriptorium. This scriptorium was a small room located on the same level as Hogwarts dungeons, much like everything else related to Slytherin. Made to look like part of the castle wall, the study was hidden behind a door concealed within plain sight, and behind that were layers of security, including multiple doors that required advanced and dark magic. For example, one of the doors would only open if the person seeking entrance spoke Parseltongue, similar to the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. Another required the use of the unforgivable and highly illegal curse, the Cruciatus Curse. Of course, the Cruciatus Curse wouldn't have been strictly illegal during Slytherin's lifetime, but that's besides the point. Inside of the room, there are rumored to have been a number of Slytherin's personal items, including his spellbook and diary. With such extensive security and the fact that it housed records of Slytherin's highly problematic points of view, his study is presumably a place he wished to keep secret, so that he could have a place to be alone and think on his more radical, prejudiced views. None of the other founders were aware of the scriptorium's existence, with the only witches and wizards who knew about it being his direct descendants. And although a student or two may have accidentally come across it over the centuries, there's no documented proof that anyone made it past all of the protective layers to get inside until the late 1800s. This means that Slytherin's scriptorium was likely kept successfully hidden for hundreds of years. 3. The Spellbook of Salazar Slytherin. Kept stashed away in his scriptorium, Salazar's spellbook was a text that maintained a record of spells, curses, and other magical items and artifacts that were of interest to Slytherin. In particular, it said that Salazar's spellbook referred to the dark arts as something he believed should have been included in Hogwarts school curriculum. Again, this was in a time when dark and terrible curses like the Killing Curse, the Cruciatus Curse, and the Imperious Curse were all still legally allowed. But there's a difference between a fully trained adult witch or wizard using one of these spells for defense and an 11-year-old child learning how to torture another person. So again, a fairly problematic point of view. In any case, as Slytherin's spellbook was locked away in his scriptorium, it stands to reason that this book was hidden for hundreds of years, just like the study itself, making it yet another well-kept secret of Slytherin's. 4. The Diary of Salazar Slytherin. Another text that was kept under lock and key in Slytherin's scriptorium was his personal diary. This journal offers concrete, written proof of Slytherin's prejudiced views of Muggles, Muggleborns, and Half-Bloods, as well as his plan for the Chamber of Secrets. Not that anyone doubted his involvement before. I mean, all those snakes, from the Parseltongue password to the basilisk who lived there, the entire thing screamed, serpent-loving Slytherin. But I digress. Now, if the findings of a group of Hogwarts who attended the school in the 1890s can be believed, the following is an entry from Slytherin's diary. I fear we shall never come to an accord. I cannot persuade even one of them to listen to reason. I had dared hoped that Godric's thoughts were aligned with my own, that he understood why the caliber of students needed to be exceptional. But he has fallen prey to the ridiculous notion that Muggleborns are somehow as capable as purebloods. He was furious when I expressed my displeasure at his thoughts on the matter, thoughts he had not yet put voice to. I tire of the discord and can no longer bear witness to the corridors full of inept children masquerading as witches and wizards. It is with a heavy heart that I now know I must go from here. I shall place the creature into a deep sleep in its chamber until it can be awakened by one who shares my views, a descendant willing to reverse the damage that the others have so carelessly wrought, one who shall rid the school of those unworthy of Hogwarts that would serve only to stain my legacy. 5. Slytherin's secret shortcut. The final secret that I'll share with you is that of a secret passage, presumably created by Slytherin himself. Not quite as shocking as the other secrets on today's list, this shortcut is presumably known by the majority of Slytherin students attending Hogwarts during any given school year. Hidden at one end by a sentient portrait of Salazar, it connects a small tunnel between the castle's entrance hall and the antechamber of the dungeons. For those who know of its existence, they also need to know the password to gain access, which happens to be the delightful phrase, mortal dread. And with that, we've come to the end of today's video. What did you think? Did I miss any of Salazar's secrets? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams and to forget to live.